In the last lesson, we worked on jam comics, and now in this lesson, we're going to create a short story for our final project. I often repeat the old adage to students to write what you know, and that it doesn't limit the kind of fiction that we tell. It offers us a point of view. If you combine your point of view with my personal advice to a beginning cartoonist to draw what you love, this should land you in a place to write stories and to draw stories you will enjoy creating. In my opinion, in order to tell good stories in comics, you need to just get started. Often, beginning cartoonists have a big idea for a grand project. Oftentimes, this big idea prohibits the beginner from starting because they know they don't have the skills down yet. That is why our project will come from a series of spontaneous choices to distance yourself a bit from your ego. For the prompts, allow yourself to answer with weird or illogical answers. Let the prompts allow you to come up with weird and illogical concepts. So when you're working on this project, you can use any books that you have around your house, or a newspaper, or a cookbook, or any sort of random thing you have around your house. You can come up with prompts just by opening up a book and pointing at a word and then writing that word down. But for my example, I'm going to use these flashcards that I found at a thrift store. So my first word is automobile. The next word is king and dog. So I'm just going to write these words down. I picked automobile, king, and dog. So that's going to be the seed of what our project is going to be. I think it's good to pick out words and kind of stick with them. Otherwise, if you keep starting over, you lose the point. It's good to try to stick with it and see what you come up with. After I have these words, I'm going to come up with 10 different types of characters that I could possibly write a story about. And this is just going to be off of the top of my head. We have a king, so maybe like a jester with an automobile. So it kind of suggests that it's maybe in more modern times. I can come up with maybe a junkyard worker. A junkyard worker could work. I could come up with a junkyard dog. But then there's still sort of this royalty thing happening. So I'm going to keep making things that come to the top of my head. Car salesman, tow truck driver. It's a little bit hard, but you have to just kind of let yourself stretch your mind out a little bit and think about different things. These are just suggestions in the beginning, so maybe I could go back to the king and a dog. So I wrote a dog that lives with a trucker, a king of the road, a dog, pound worker, a stray dog, an owner of a fast food stand. I come up with characters that just pop into my head, and the first thing that comes into my head, I just write it down. Sometimes it's really difficult. Sometimes the prompts give you a little bit of a challenge, but I'm pretty happy with this list. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to choose one to make up some problems that a character could have. I'm going to choose a junkyard dog because I just really love dogs. I am going to make a list of 10 problems that the junkyard dog could have. So right away, a junkyard dog, in my experience, they're kind of ratty and live on this property by themselves. So maybe loneliness, maybe junkyard is running out of cars. A dog could be trapped inside of a car. So I'm really just kind of coming up with any problem that I think could happen. Someone broke in to steal rare hood ornaments. No shelter. These are pretty sad problems. Every dog needs a good belly rub. Fleas. The sandhill crane flew south for the winter. His owner is always angry. His bed in the old pickup truck was sold. So after we come up with 10 problems, I would like you to choose one. The reason that I want people to come up with so many problems is that it's really easy to say you can't come up with any problems for your character to have, or it's just really difficult to sometimes think of like a grand idea. But if you have to come up with 10 and then pick from them, you'll at least get the chance to pick from something that you like. So I'm going to pick general loneliness. Now, after I made 10 problems, I'm going to make 10 solutions to the problem of loneliness. You can come up with illogical answers to these prompts. They don't have to all play within our shared collective reality. You can do things that are unreal. In comics, if you need to introduce a dragon or something, feel free. You can really do whatever you want. A dragon wants the old pickup truck with his bed in it and demands the dog comes with. The dog befriends an elf that grants the dog freedom. A bunch of rats move in and befriend the dog. The dog tries to act overly sweet to the owner for affection. The dog is kind to nature, and nature returns the favor. Actually, I kind of like that answer. So if a solution comes up that you really like, you don't have to keep making the list. I really like that answer, so I'm going to choose the dog is kind to nature and nature returns the favor. So that's going to be the basis of our comic. I'm going to make a comic for the final project that's going to be about a junkyard dog who suffers from loneliness. And the solution to that is that because of his kindness to nature, nature returns the favor. Now that we've come up with our story, in the next lesson, we're going to work on character design.